Hello and welcome to the Middlemen. I am Juro Evans Ofeli. Today I will be discussing a reformed judicial system. With me are Juro Cyril Abaku, who will be talking about power outage, and Juro Olajumoke Alaode James, who will be addressing the total disregard for human lives in Nigeria. But that will be after this short break. I'll be back. Please stay with us. Middleman. My case. The judicial system is the most expensive machine ever invented for finding out what happened and what to do about it. The reform judicial system. In recent times, the judiciary has come under censure over reported misconduct by some judicial officers, lawyers, and litigants, which has given rise to the clamor for reform in the judicial sector. Reforming justice system is a moral imperative that has been an area of focus for many. President Tinubu yesterday said that the judicial system needs a critical reform to addressing systemic challenges and serve justice to Nigerians. Speaking at the National Summit on Justice 2024, held at the National Judicial Institute, Abuja, the president also demanded accountability from the judiciary. This, to me, is a paradox. The president and a host of other politicians are big beneficiaries of the decayed judicial system. The judicial system is a victim of circumstance today because of the lives or the likes of Tinubu, Akpabio, who spoke at the summit as well. I beg, make them not tell us anything. Here are the key aspects of the reform required under the Nigerian judicial system. Effort to address the backlog of cases and reduce delay in the judicial system, such as introduction of case management system and alternative dispute resolution mechanism. Initiatives to improve judicial infrastructure include building new courtrooms and upgrading facilities. Measures to enhance the independence and accountability of the judiciary, such as reforms to the judicial appointment and disciplinary processes. Training programs to improve the skills and capacity of judges, lawyers, and court staff. Attempts to increase public trust and confidence in the justice system through initiatives like legal aid and public awareness campaigns. My verdict: the goals of these reforms are to make the Nigerian judicial system more efficient, effective, and accessible to all citizens. However, progress has been gradual and there are still significant challenges that remain to be addressed. Ongoing dialogues and collaborations between the government, legal professionals, and civil societies continue to shape the judicial reform agenda in Nigeria. Let us change the system and be counted for change. I shall go to Rabbi.
This is a great case Jure Evans has made. I must commend you. It's your industry, it's your nativity. And so you've spoken like a proper native of your land. But howbeit, whatever happens in the judiciary affects everybody. Because the courts, like they say, are the hope of the common man. He doesn't have to be a lawyer. There was the story of, was it Lord Denning, who took a taxi in London? And there was an argument between him and the driver about whether it was going to the court of law or going to the court of justice. There was an argument like that. What Nigerians need are courts of justice, not just courts of law. And to make all of these things possible, one, I think that part of the reason why the judiciary is overburdened and has to cave into corruption much of the time is because of our own predilection for always seeking to judicialize matters, when normally, if we were a good society, would have been able to find redress. But because politicians, for example, would not play by the rules and would rather wait to go to the court and go on. So when the pressure shifts from values to adjudication, you understand that the pressure normally will move and mount on. Then now you have Mr. Kwabio there who was talking very copiously. But ask, how did he become a senator? And who become Senate president? Somebody who didn't run in the primaries of
who kept a placeholder, went to the other side and came back.
And then was the court declared him. That's sacrilege.
Do you
know, you couldn't.
He had an EFCC case
on his neck. Yes.
Before you moved to
the APC.
You know, those EFCC case files, right? They go missing when they join the party in power. But then when they have an opponent who is more powerful, files just resurrect.
Now,
because there are many politicians like that their EFCC cases are just suspended.
Yeah, of course. Sure, of course, because those are highly political cases. Now, political cases are one problem. Election cases are another problem. But to take the matter even deeper, how about civil cases that have lingered since 1960 something, 50 something, and those cases have been there at Supreme Court pending God knows what. Okay? Barrister even talked about legal aid. When Mauritania was head of state, he introduced what was called the Legal Aid Council. It's federal government's intervention. If your case is in court and you cannot help and you can't afford a lawyer, they come around, you know, they go to prisons. But even legal aid counsel appears to be dead. All right? So the citizen's access to justice is what tells him that the judiciary is alive. But where that is gone, it becomes a real problem. Why will one case linger at the Supreme Court for decades? Come on.
The legal aid
you don't
council,
seem serious about anything.
The legal aid council is still there, by the way, as an agency of government, but it has long lost its focus. Because right now, if you don't have a lawyer, you cannot afford one, and you go to them, you are supposed to be assigned a lawyer immediately, and your case is supposed to be heard, your brief, so that they can take it up. But sometimes you now discover that the lawyers now dispatch to you are now asking you for transport, they're asking you for feeding, they're asking you for money in between money and all that. So at the end of the day, it's the objective is abused, because even those who work there do not know the objective. Their agenda is money. So it makes everything, you know, difficult.
It's pretty much like Lagos State public defender.
Sure.
Yeah. Public defender is just recent.
It's recent.
It's the copied.
Yes.
So
it's based on the failure of legal aid.
Yes.
States to say legal to public defender.
That's state intervention.
For your case, right? I would admit that the messengers, right, in this National Judicial Summit 2024 are the ones that I have the case with. President Tinubu himself, like you mentioned in your case, is a beneficiary of our funny judiciary, where they say justice delayed, justice denied. There are albatrosses hanging over his neck from the case of, did you even go to school at all, or you went to a school
in government Lagos with Toronto, and then Nigeria with which other university?
Chicago.
Chicago University.
No, it was Chicago that he governed Lagos State with.
Where did Toronto step?
No, Toronto was Sanusi.
Tinubu had Toronto now. Tinubu had Toronto as the Lagos State government Lagos.
Was the house at the
no.
time.
Tinubu, it was Toronto used in that one, then it turned again, now use the other one.
Because I remember that he was, did you go to the University of Chicago or Chicago State University when he was governor?
No,
and he said he wasn't the one who
filled the form. It was Senator Tokunbo Yomi. That was where the problem came from.
Yes. But anyway, coming back to that, I have a problem with that. If anyone hoped that President Buhari was going to change anything in Nigeria when he came in 2015, was that he would give us a clean judicial system that all of us can trust. Because, like you mentioned, the judicial system is the hope of the common man. Justice delayed is justice denied. And a lot of us feel that the Nigerian judicial system, the laws are for the poor. Justice is for the rich. Because, I mean, if you're a poor person and you cannot even afford a lawyer, you can be in detention and your case is awaiting trial for 5 years for an offense whose punishment is only 2 years.
The problem with the judiciary is quite deep, Jumoke.
It's very deep.
You
People
have
like
judges
Lawa.
coming to court on Okada.
People like Lawa. No, they no longer do that.
Magistrates turning up to court in Okada.
No, even magistrate, not in Lagos. Not in Lagos. But you need huge reforms. Even more in the north. Because I followed my friend some time ago to a court in Bauchi where they use charcoal to write area court 1. And I told my friend I will not announce my parents inside that. I won't enter that place. You can go and do your case. I consider it's not my case.
Barrister,
you know?
Sorry, just to cut in, I'm sorry. I met a lawyer friend of mine who said he met somebody who went to school with him, a lawyer, who somehow came to court and had them say de novo. That the case was going to start de novo. You know, the old judge, the old magistrate or judge had been taking it. So,
starting afresh.
And he was asking this lawyer friend, what is de novo?
Okay.
And the one asking de novo now is a judge.
It's a judge.
He's a judge now.
No. Even if you don't understand Latin, de novo, you must come through de novo. There's no way you pass through the law school and not meet de novo. It's a concept. You must meet it. That for me is not legal reform. That is personal deficiency. How
did that person become a judge? Okay. We need to reform that process.
Okay. Yeah, that process. That's very correct. So when we return, Juro Olajumoke Alawode James will be addressing the total disregard for human lives in Nigeria. Don't go anywhere.
Middleman.
You're welcome back to the Middlemen, and we're still your jurors. My case today is asking, do you love Nigeria? I love Nigeria. I mean, this is home. Not just about family and friends that I have here. I can survive the weather and live a comfortable life here without any discrimination. Unfortunately, those of us who love Nigeria the most, shouting from the rooftops, are quickly shut down by political juggernauts and their minions. Imagine that to get health insurance that accords you every coverage you need, including air ambulance to take you abroad in case of an emergency, you must be paying a yearly premium of 5 million naira. Wouldn't you be making 100 million naira yearly to pay that much premium? We lost a friend last week, brain tumor. Before money could be raised for an urgent surgery, the person passed. It was so painful, I prayed, may Nigeria never happen to me. I know people abroad complain of high taxes, but at least their lives are prioritized. We will all die, yes, but no one should die needlessly. Yet, we are more religious than the owners of our foreign religions here. We'll just pray for the repose of the souls of the deceased and quickly move on our merry ways. Back to the hustle. I saw a video of a man convulsing in public bus on their way to Ilorin last week. The bus stopped on the way. Passengers didn't know what to do. Thank God for social media. Several doctors gave quick advice on first aid. You won't believe that we followed the matter for 5 hours and there was still no help. No emergency services. Eventually, he was confirmed dead. Kai, life here now like chicken, oh no. Wait, do you know how to perform CPR? What if someone is bleeding fast? Can you render first aid? I heard there was a nurse in that bus, but she was afraid to help. I don't know why. Something about being arrested by the police if the man died. The man has now died. No one will be arrested. We pray and move on. Do you love Nigeria? If you do, why aren't you holding politicians accountable for a better living standard for Nigerians? If you don't have 100 million naira saved, one illness can end you here. Yet, you can have all the money in the world saved, and lack of emergency services is why you die. Do Nigerian politicians love Nigeria? They go abroad for healthcare, see what's possible, come back to spend billions building hospitals that even they cannot use. I have to commend Lagos State Government hospitals though. They give us hope. The facilities are just not enough to cater for the over 20 million population. They also have fantastic emergency services, and there are several private hospitals in Lagos, expensive as they may be for the common man, but they also give us hope. What of the rest of the country? My verdict. In a twist of fate, it seems the ones who goad the thieving politicians on are usually the first victims. If Nigeria becomes great, we all will benefit. Why are you so focused on amassing wealth for yourself that you refuse to speak truth to power, demand justice and good governance for the population, and rest knowing that you've truly loved Nigeria with your actions? Nigeria will succeed when we come together to fight corruption and injustice.
Yes, this your case is one that goes to the heart of nationhood. The reason we are called Nigerians is because we are all alive. If we had all gone, there will be no one to refer to as a Nigerian. But what is painful in this whole concept for our country managing her citizens is that the most important of every need of mankind and humanity is not taken serious. There's a Senate Committee on Public Health. As I speak to you, they have no programs on their table. They have no oversight on the public health cares of the country. If they do, by now, they would have declared a state of emergency on that sector. That during emergency, out of emergency, in emergency, the case is the same. Whether you sick, you fall sick, and you gradually decline health-wise, you are going to die. You have an emergency, an accident or something, you are going to die. You get old, you die. You get young, you die. You give birth, you die. Is that the mother died, maternal mortality rate, infant mortality rate, everything is on high scale. And it seems like we're just in one vehicle, one bus, with high speed without a driver. That is how our health sector is.
Why are we quiet? Why are we comfortable not to be doing something about it? Realizing that it can be any of us tomorrow.
That is the case. Citizens are docile. Citizens are prepared with survival at first, before they talk about health. But it is the process of stressing your health to survive that you lose your health.
Jesus.
You understand? People just want to eat because, you see, the cost of living is out of reach. It's out of reach. So people will have to wake up earlier than necessary. Okay? They have to do extra work and they have to trek more. They have to strain their health. That same health, when there's a breakdown, there is no solution. So it's a dilemma. If you do not work very hard, you cannot feed. If you work your health breakdown, you will die. If you do not, every way you look at it, you just find out that it's like we are not.
We are all waiting to die.
Yes, we are waiting to die. We're not looking at what can we do. Can we twist our governments, bring them down and compel them, or invoke the God of creation against them?
Before we start invoking God, we can actually twist. Why aren't we doing it? Is why I keep on asking that question. Because if we're hungry to a certain level, and we all agree to come out that, look, 1% of the population cannot be stealing our money. Look at the debacle that EFCC and Yaya Bello's case has become. That you are saying that somebody stole this amount of money, to the extent of even paying his child's school fees in advance. And then you want to arrest him, question him, and hold him accountable. And the current governor is stopping you from doing your work.
The EFCC chairman said he even called Yaya Bello with his own phone to tell, okay, come to my office. I will open the back door for you, back gate, where you will not be harassed. Just come.
Treatment.
You understand? So that confirms to us that the big people, the rich people, when they steal, there is consolation for them. There is soft landing for
them. Always
but when the poor steal, they are sent to the hangman.
They approached him with privilege.
Yes.
And he has exploited it to the maximum. But I think I'm a bit more interested in the question of docility, the psychology that drives docility.
Yes.
Why are we docile? Why don't we like to hold government to account?
Yes.
I think that in our constitution as Africans, in the way we are raised, I don't think that continental Africa, West Africa particularly, but I don't think we're raised in a way that empowers us to challenge authority.
We don't question authority.
It's not in our DNA primarily. Our social makeup does not.
Are people raised to question authority? When you find something wrong,
no.
When you find something
wrong, if you are born in a
it
system,
is incumbent in you to question.
No, when you are born into a system, a lot of times you just comply.
Even the way we've approached and adopted democracy.
I agree. It's like monarchy.
Yes, it is. Democracy is not a people-led democracy. It is more of an elite-led democracy.
Yeah.
I agree.
They dictate to us. They give us money. They tell us what to do.
True.
So I mean, I haven't grown up now. And now that one can understand, when I was, many years ago, there was an election in Rivers State, my home state. the village or the hometown of the governor that was elected that year, they didn't allow any other party to vote in that place. Now, back then, we thought this is unity in that, it's a great, of course, it's our son, nobody should vote. But looking back at it now, why would you allow another party to come and vote there? What is the problem? And
has your village changed now?
It's an election.
Has your village changed?
How has it changed? It's an election. So that particular hometown that said no other party was allowed to vote, does that even make sense today? It does not. So that paid some people because, of course, being the ruling class, it paid them.
Hold on. How long ago was this? Because it happened in 2023 in Lagos. So.
No, don't worry.
It's everywhere now.
It's easy. So where I'm going, and to think that between that time and now, we're still in that same morass, just tells you that even democracy.
Let me tell you why we cannot challenge our leaders. The reason we cannot challenge our leaders is that we are not loyal to Nigeria. We are loyal to our survival.
Again, we are not. Yes.
We will. The moment we find a block of say 200 persons that have come out to protest and they are really doing it fine, the politicians will go and get 300 persons.
Yeah.
That will come and displace these ones completely. So we are not ready to build.
We are all living in the same hardship.
The same morass we are talking about. We are not ready to build a strong, formidable block to challenge the status quo. So we will continue to push and retreat, because they will come and knock us off and then reinstate whatever it is they're
Are we even united enough?
Good. Just to add lastly, right, from my own perspective, it's like you took the question out of my mouth. Whether we are united. For a country that is not even up to 70 years, a country in which almost all the actors and those who saw the actors in all the major historical events in the country are still alive, our history is not uniform. You can't lie about history. History is history.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
So how come do we have different history?
So that's why you have disparate, very, very disparate views about what happened even 10 years ago. As early as even last year's election, people are abandoning all kinds of narratives about what all of us saw with us. So when we are like that, how can we sincerely say we are going to come together? For me, the key to uniting Nigerians is in economy anyway. But until a leader with vision rises and says, beyond me, the country, I can begin to forge us together once again into an economic tribe as opposed to what we have today.
Ethnic tribes. Anyway, unless and until we, the people, come together and become the leading factor in our democracy, we'll continue to have elites who take advantage of us, saying that they're giving us democracy. When we return, Judiciary will be discussing power outage in the country. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Middleman.
You're welcome back. This is still the Middlemen. My case, lights out. A few weeks ago, the Nigerian public sphere was awash with the need to increase electricity tariffs. That was the case and the argument advanced by government and their friends in the discourse. The boogie back then was the bogus classification of consumers into bands ranging from A to E. I'm sure if you remember well, there was this story about the police being in Bandia and we all laughed ourselves into some kind of fun here. Today, anyway, we are mostly bandless. I always thought that the discos were the enemies of the Nigerian people, or their nemesis, if you see what I mean. But who cares? Enemies and nemesis both have a genesis. And like the holy book that ended with the revelations of John, the entire story and deception of the increase in tariffs is now unraveling. How many hours of power do you have now? Have we not all fallen into the same class of people who are running their generators every day and every night? Aren't we back where we started like we never left it? You won't have power because they never planned to provide it anyway. All they wanted was what they got already. More money out of your pocket and into theirs. The curtains fell at that stage. It was lights out. That's why we're back in darkness. My verdict. My thinking may not be your thinking, and I have no apologies for thinking and proposing it anyway. We have enough brains and resources as a nation to generate more power than is needed by our population. And this power should be generated and served to all of us free of charge. I so rule.
Maybe,
I absolutely agree.
Maybe it's a bit of shit that will need
I agree.
to regenerate the power. Because you see this case, I am so concerned about the introduction of an extra band to the band A to E. And that is the band darkness. No, band darkness.
Bandit.
That's where all of us are
Band
now.
darkness.
Because the truth is that, see, it does not even matter who is in band A and who is in band B any longer, or whether the police is in band E and they're expected to protect us with lights. It does not matter any
Band
longer.
E for our daily.
What we now have is that the power stations, okay, the turbines are collapsing every day because they are not strong enough to carry it. When those turbines were built, they were built when the Nigerian population was not even
over 60 million.
up to, yes. So now there is an overstretch. Now you have so much problem to deal with. By the time you cross off the generation problem, you enter into the distribution problem, where you have lines of issues that you have to deal with and all that. From there, you pull into the TNN, TCN and all that. By the time you resolve TCN, you go into other problems of regulation and all that. So it's clear that we cannot manage power on a centralized form in Nigeria. So part of why we should even be protesting is that we don't have electricity. We should protest. We don't have water.
We need to unite to protest.
Yes, we should
many,
do that
many things actually.
because we are in perpetual darkness. Many of us are not even metered.
Okay.
So under what classification is that? Is it
somebody who doesn't have meter?
Is it ban on metered?
Bandit.
To add to or bandit or
Bandit.
to add to ban. So we're in a big problem.
Okay, so there are many levels to the lights out, right? One is that, for instance, I'm in band B, like I discussed before, and band B is supposed to be 16 to 20 hours. I barely get 13 hours. They've been pushing hard, to give us 12 hours. So they give us overnight. So if they bring it 7 p.m., it's there till 7 a.m. Because there wasn't power 2 days ago, they left it till 1 p.m., today. So they're pushing hard to say that, we're giving you 16 hours. But what I realized is that because we're not united enough to fight and demand good governance, we allow government to get away with all sorts of things. For instance, this week, we heard that it's not disband. I used that word for you earlier, where they're unbundling the discos, that there are 11 of them, that 4 of them are in trouble, so they're going to sell them.
Resell, yes.
Right?
You have to resell them.
And Judiciary will ask the question, to who?
To who?
How
do you resell what you have sold already?
Then there's also the problem of generation is not really our problem, even though we're generating less than we need to consume. But in the middle of generation and distribution is the TCN, Transmission Company of Nigeria. Now they've said, we've removed power, generation, transmission, distribution away from the exclusive list. Now state governments can generate. I'm hoping that all of us get off the grid and leave only the essentials, maybe hospitals and things on the grid. And we start to do IPP, Independent Power Project, where, even if it is 10, a lot of us are on solar already. The only thing we are using discos for is to power our air conditioners, right? And then lastly, if they always say that government has no business being in business, right? But they say that transmission of power is a national security issue. So government cannot totally remove their hands. But the amount of money that the subsequent government over several years have spent into power in Nigeria is enough to power the whole of Africa. The major issue is corruption.
Assuming the corruption has been dealt with.
Yes, corruption
it's enough to power the whole of Africa. But what you have is corruption is still there as a behemoth. Okay, sucking and whatever it is you throw in there is completely taken away, and you not see a reflection. you will not see a reflection. Obasanjo 16 billion.
Yes.
We are still talking about it today. That 16 billion would have built.
The senator who was supposed to probe the corruption was caught in corruption. When they bribed him to say, "Oh God, just look away."
Yeah. So that is the kind of problem we are facing. So until we deal with corruption, we will not have power. We will not have anything, even water. We will not be able to go forward. That is what it is. Corruption must go.
It's an unfortunate situation we find ourselves in. I for one, I'm even of the whenever you hear Nigerians use national security as a reason why they can't do what they're supposed to do, I just know that there is something that they're even trying to hide there. Well, it's as far as we go from band A to band E and now
to bandits
and to band darkness. We hope the lights come on very soon. That's all on the Middlemen today. Thank you, Juro Olajumoke Alawade James, for being here.
Thank you.
As well as certainly, and the Juro from Rabbi.
Thank you
Juro
very
Evans.
much.
It's a pleasure having you on the show today.
Very well.
Also, we appreciate you, the viewer, for watching. If you want to join us next time, you may subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us across all social media handles at Enterprise TV7. You may also visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Until our next episode, it's bye from all of us.
Middleman. Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.